From ancient rituals to modern cafes, two humble plants, coffee and tea, have shaped empires, economies, and cultures. For over 1,000 years, these two brews have fueled minds, sparked revolutions, and connected distant worlds. They began as sacred drinks: tea steeped in the misty mountains of ancient China, coffee born from the wild highlands of Ethiopia. From temple rituals to royal courts, from bustling bazaars to corner cafes, they became more than beverages. They became history in a cup. Tea carried the elegance of the East, symbolizing peace, patience, and ceremony. Coffee carried the fire of the South, inspiring conversation, creativity, and change. Together, they powered global trade, drove colonial ambitions, and transformed social life from the tea gardens of India to the coffee houses of London, Paris, and Istanbul. Today, more than 2 billion cups of coffee and tea are consumed every single day, proof that their influence endures. They awaken nations, fuel industries, and unite strangers across continents. These are not just drinks. They are stories of discovery, devotion, and destiny. This is the tale of two brews that conquered the world, the timeless story of coffee and tea. Long before the world knew the comfort of a warm cup, legend says it began with an accident. Around 2737 BCE, China's legendary Emperor Shen Nong, known as the Divine Farmer, sat below a wild tea tree as his servants boiled water. A few leaves drifted into the pot, releasing a fragrant aroma. Intrigued, the emperor tasted the brew and tea was born. From that simple moment, an entire culture blossomed. In ancient China, tea was first valued as a medicinal herb, praised for cleansing the body and sharpening the mind. Over time, it evolved from healing tonic to a ritual of refinement, a symbol of harmony, respect, and balance. During the Tang Dynasty, 618-907 CE, tea became an art form. Scholars, poets, and monks embraced it as a path to clarity and meditation. The world's first book on tea, The Classic of Tea by Lu Yu, was written, defining the philosophy and etiquette of this sacred drink. By the Song Dynasty, 960 and 1279 CE, tea had transformed into a social language of elegance. Whisked teas, graceful tea houses, and poetic gatherings turned drinking tea into an expression of mindfulness and artistry. It was no longer just consumed, it was experienced. Through the Silk Road, tea traveled beyond China's borders to Korea, Japan, and Central Asia, blending with new traditions and beliefs. In Japan, it inspired the chanoyu, or tea ceremony, a spiritual practice rooted in simplicity and respect. From a single leaf in Shen Nong's cup to a global tradition of peace and culture, tea became China's eternal gift to the world. More so, in the misty highlands of Ethiopia, legend tells of a goat herder named Kaldi. One day he noticed his goats dancing with unusual energy after nibbling bright red berries from a wild bush. Curious, Kaldi tried them himself and felt a sudden burst of vitality. He carried the berries to a local monastery, where the monks, intrigued by their effect, began boiling them in water. What emerged was the first cup of coffee. From this humble discovery, a revolution in taste and energy began. By the 15th century, coffee had crossed the Red Sea into Yemen, where it was first cultivated and traded. In the port city of Mocha, the beans were roasted, brewed, and shipped across the Islamic world. Yemen became the birthplace of the global coffee trade, and Mocha became a name forever linked with the drink itself. Within the Sufi monasteries of Arabia, coffee took on a sacred purpose. Monks drank it during long nights of prayer and devotion, calling it the wine of Islam, a spiritual stimulant that sharpened the mind and focused the soul. As its aroma spread through the Middle East, coffee houses, known as café, emerged in cities like Mecca, Cairo, and Constantinople. These were not mere shops, they were centers of conversation, poetry, and politics. Here, scholars debated philosophy, musicians played, and storytellers inspired crowds. The coffee house became the heartbeat of community and culture, earning coffee the nickname, the drink of the wise. From Chaldees goats in the Ethiopian hills to the bustling cafes of the Islamic world, coffee ignited minds and connected people. It was more than a beverage. It was the start of a global awakening, one cup at a time. As the winds of trade swept across the seas, two drinks, tea and coffee, began their conquest of the world. Tea was the first to cross oceans. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Portuguese and Dutch traders carried it from the ports of China to the courts of Europe. What began as an exotic luxury soon captured royal attention and refined palates, but it was Britain that fell most deeply under tea's spell. By the 18th century, tea had become the empire's lifeblood, shipped in vast quantities by the powerful East India Company, whose fortunes were built on its trade. Tea was no longer just a drink, it was a ritual, a statement of civility and national pride. The phrase, "a cup of tea," came to define British identity itself, comfort in a cup, unity in tradition. Meanwhile, coffee was charting its own bold course across the Ottoman Empire and into Europe. From Istanbul to Venice, and then to Vienna, Paris, and London, the dark aromatic brew captivated the continent. In the great European cities, coffee houses became the new centers of society, buzzing with debate, discovery, and revolution. They were known as penny universities, where for the price of a single cup, one could hear the latest news, discuss politics, or dream of invention. Soon, an unspoken rivalry brewed tea for the British, coffee for the continent. Tea symbolized empire and elegance, coffee, energy, and enlightenment. Together, they fueled exploration, commerce, and conversation. Two rival drinks shaping one connected world. From the plantations of Asia to the cafes of Europe, the age of empire ran on caffeine and culture, a tale of taste, trade, and transformation. Behind every fragrant cup of tea and every bold sip of coffee lies a darker story, one brewed in colonial ambition and human cost. As European empires expanded, tea and coffee became global commodities, driving both wealth and exploitation. When Britain's thirst for tea outgrew China's supply, it turned eastward to its colonies. Vast tea plantations rose across India, Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, and parts of Africa, worked by laborers under harsh colonial rule. These fields became engines of empire, where local lands were seized, and generations toiled for the profits of distant masters. On the other side of the world, coffee plantations flourished across the Caribbean, South America, and Africa. From Brazil to Haiti, enslaved Africans and indentured workers cultivated the beans that fueled Europe's mornings. Every harvest carried the weight of forced labor, inequality, and colonial monopoly, turning a daily pleasure into a symbol of global injustice. Even as empire profited, resistance was brewing. In 1773, the Boston Tea Party turned tea into a political weapon, a symbol of protest against British taxation and control. The tossed chests of tea in Boston Harbor echoed across the world, proving that even a cup could spark revolution. By the 19th century, coffee had become the drink of the modern age, powering factories, writers, and workers through the Industrial Revolution. From dawn to dusk, it fueled human productivity and progress, but the plantations behind it told another story, one of struggle and survival. Tea and coffee connected the world, but not without cost. Their legacy is both comfort and conflict, a reminder that even the world's favorite drinks were brewed in the fires of colonialism, commerce, and human endurance. In the 20th century, the ancient rituals of tea and coffee met the speed of the modern world. What were once sacred brews of ceremony and conversation became the daily fuel of billions. Innovation changed everything. Instant coffee made its debut, promising energy at the stir of a spoon. Tea bags, first popularized by accident in the early 1900s, turned the art of brewing into effortless convenience. Mass production transformed these ancient drinks into global industries, carried in every kitchen, every office, every home. The world soon learned their names: Lipton, Twinings, Nescafé, Starbucks empires built on flavor, branding, and connection. Each cup became a symbol of modern identity. The morning espresso for the commuter, the afternoon tea for reflection. The paper cup that marked a fast-paced age. As cities grew, the rise of café culture gave people more than caffeine. It gave them community. From Parisian coffee houses to American diners, and later to minimalist modern cafes, people gathered to work, dream, and belong. By the late 20th century, the third wave coffee movement redefined the drink, once more celebrating craftsmanship, origin, and sustainability. Even amid industrialization, tradition endured. As awareness grew, a new movement began: sustainable farming and fair trade. Farmers from Kenya to Colombia began demanding fair prices and ethical practices, reminding the world that the journey from leaf and bean to cup must honor those who grow it. Across centuries and continents, tea and coffee have become more than drinks. They are symbols of how we live, think, and connect. Tea speaks the language of tranquility and mindfulness. From the quiet Japanese tea ceremony to the shared pots of Chinese gong fu tea, it invites stillness, reflection, and harmony. In Britain, India, and beyond, tea remains a gesture of hospitality and community, a ritual that slows time, calms the mind, and brings people together. Coffee, on the other hand, embodies creativity, intellect, and energy. It has fueled the pens of writers, the ideas of philosophers, and the innovation of entrepreneurs. From the lively coffee houses of Enlightenment Europe to the bustling cafes of modern cities, it has always been the drink of conversation and inspiration. Both tea and coffee carry deep symbolism in literature, religion, and social life. Tea represents serenity and spiritual balance, appearing in Zen teachings and poetry as a metaphor for peace. Coffee symbolizes awakening a spark of thought, rebellion, and revolution. It was the unseen companion in revolts, manifestos, and midnight creations. But beyond all differences, these two brews became bridges between East and West. Tea carried the elegance of Asia to the world, while coffee brought the vigor of Africa and Arabia into global culture. From ancient empires to modern metropolises, coffee and tea have shaped the rhythm of civilization itself. They've stirred revolutions, inspired art, comforted hearts, and connected nations. Tea, born in the misty mountains of Fujian and Yunnan, carried with it the grace of ceremony and the wisdom of stillness. Coffee, discovered in the wild highlands of Ethiopia, brought the spark of energy and the fire of conversation. Together they fueled trade routes, built fortunes, and bridged cultures across oceans. From the Silk Road to the Spice Route, from Ottoman cafes to British tea rooms, each sip told a story of exploration, exchange, and evolution. Even today, billions begin their mornings with these same timeless brews, testaments to endurance, tradition, and human connection. In every steaming cup lies a link to the past, and a promise for the future, a reminder that history can be tasted, not just told. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.